Hello. From the book of Isaiah. We hear some cry. Watch you on the news. Tell us of the night. From the time mankind grew so that families had neighbors, and neighborhoods grew into cities, and nations emerged, there's been a need for lookout towers. And the folk who manned the towers were called watchmen. They had the high ground, and they could see challenges from a distance and signal the community of dangers or opportunities on the horizon.
All right.
There are not many more important functions in all society than that of the watchman. That's how I think of my brother, Harry Spike Moss.
Yeah.
Hey. Hello. Thank you. For more than 4 decades that I've known him, I've seen him to operate as a watchman for our people. He's been given a mantle, a responsibility, a mission to which he's been true, that has led us to this appropriate moment of recognition and celebration. As he operated from his lookout tower, he's embraced the lessons of history and applied them to his wisdom and called us to action, to raise our voices, to come together to battle indignities. He's been mindful of our responsibility to our youth, and he summoned us to recognize the value of a young Prince Rogers Nelson, a Terry Lewis, or a Bobby Joe Champion. He galvanized us and created opportunities for their talents in music and community leadership to be nurtured and grown. He's always called us to understand that this warfare is not just a physical one. Did I mention that he prompted a young entrepreneur named Derek Holmes to start the Danica Watch Company? But it isn't just a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing. He's always supported the importance of the black clergy, Reverend McAfee.
Yeah.
Spikeman, I think that's your new name for you. Spikeman is a watchman, and we're continually grateful for that. Keep stepping, my brother, to inform us and to aid us in becoming all that we should be. Let's look to the Lord. Father, we thank you for this moment of coming together, the opportunity to honor one to whom honor is due. Oh God, let this honoring of him promote us to be better, to go forward, to do more. We believe in this and we claim your blessing on this celebration in the name of Christ. Amen. Amen. So now, legendary figures in media and communications coming to share this moment with us. Please receive Al McFarlane and Don the Shelby.
Good morning, everybody. What a wonderful morning it is. Don, what you think?
I have never seen more friends in one place to celebrate a wonderful human being in my life.
celebration that is due and necessary. Yes. What we're doing right now is something that must be done and something that we must do. It's important for us to lay a marker in history so we can tell the generations to come we've been this way before. Spike Moss, warrior, champion, leader, commander-in-chief of our community, Spike Moss.
You may wonder why a European is up here anyway. But I have to take you back. Thank you. I have to take you back about 45 years. When I first met this man, and how important he has been, not only in this community, but in my community. He has told the truth. And he has made the truth real and unavoidable for Europeans to accept what was real and needed attention. I owe much of who I am today to Mr. Spike Moss.
I have to recall that, Spike, I met you, my first time meeting you, I was a new employee of the Minnesota Human Rights Department. Spike Moss and Matt Eubanks and a crowd took over the offices of the State Human Rights Department. And I was in the back, and they showed up and said, "Taking it over." First time I met him. He's been doing that ever since, taking it over, standing up. And Spike, keep on doing this, brother. Thank you so much. Well, I want to make sure that all of you pick up a copy of the collector's edition of Insight News. Spike is on the cover. Stories about Spike. Get it, keep it, read it, pass it on.
I'm used to commercial breaks, and that just was one. Before I introduce our next guest, I wanted to say, Sharon, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have him. So I want to introduce today, representing the city of Minneapolis, which has made this day possible for the naming of this portion of this street after Spike Moss. A great friend, without regard to your politics, without regard to race, without regard to culture, one of the great friends of this city and all of us assembled today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mayor Jacob Fry.
Well, do you feel that in the air? I feel happiness. I feel inspiration. I feel love. We honor our heroes. We love our legends. We cherish our icons, and we recognize our leaders. And when you're all four of those things at the same time, we rename a street after you. Oftentimes, we at the city have renamed streets post-mortem. We haven't recognized people that have done incredible work until it's too late. And in the case of Spike Moss, when the recommendation came to us to find ways to honor someone that has given so much, to be honest with you, this was a no-brainer. You start to understand how much Spike Moss has done. I start to read history and experience directly how much he has done for this city. And I start to see that I've only been through the first chapter. Had he just found a way to desegregate the fire department, that would have been enough. Had he found a way to diversify the Minneapolis Police Department, that would have been enough. Had he just been the executive director of the Way, that would have been enough. Had he only partnered with Clyde Belcourt to make sure that we have civil rights in this city and in this country, that would have been enough. But here is a man, here is a legend, here is a person that has taken this one step further and then one step further again. And for those that have had the experience and the honor of learning from him personally, intimately, and directly, it's something that you will never forget. I will never forget going over to Spike's home, heading down into his basement with hundreds, if not thousands, of these beautiful model cars, and learning. Far too often, we want to talk more and listen less. But as soon as you talk to Spike Moss, you start recognizing that we all need to be listening more. We need to be learning from those that have come before us. We need to recognize that we are standing on the shoulders of greatness. And greatness is Spike Moss. And so now, when anybody walks down this street, excuse me, this way, Senator Champion can attest, it is the way, not by accident, but quite intentionally. This is the way. This is the way to be righteous. This is the way to think with a forward vision. This is the way to honor your neighbor. And this is the place, this is the way, whether you're 8.5 or 85 years old, where you can recognize our common humanity. And it's all made possible by Spike Moss. And so when we started putting our money where our mouth is, or at least our work where our mouth is, this became something beautiful and something evident. I want to thank all the city council members that are here with us. I see Council Member Latricia Vitaw and Michael Rainville. I'm about to bring up here Council Member Jeremiah Ellison. I'm sure there could be some other council members here as well, but the bottom line is this. Spike, personally, thank you. You have made me a better mayor. You have made Minneapolis a better place. Your dedication, your love, and the way that you've mentored and inspired so many, it will live long. And thank you so much. It is an honor just to know you, my friend. And with that, you got it.
Thank you, Mayor. Give him a round of applause. Our Mayor. Let me ask if there are any of you in the audience that are younger and able, and look around and see somebody standing up who is older and maybe less able, do the right thing, do the African thing, make sure that all the people that need to sit get a chance to sit out of the sun. So do that. Just be conscious, be aware. Let me introduce our next presenter, next speaker. You all might know her as Aura Holtz, but I know her by her title. She is an African queen, Nee Aura Holtz. Aura Holtz.
Hats off to you, Brother Spike. The Way's song was, "Ain't no stopping us now." Ain't no stopping us now. So let me go on because we got only a couple of minutes and I don't want the hook to come and drag me off the stage. Hotep to everyone, and everyone who does not know what Hotep means, it means Kiswahili for peace. Hotep. I'm just going to give you a few highlights of some of the things that I experienced with working along with Brother Spike Moss at the Way. And there's something that I really, really want to clarify, and I'm bringing this first. It's Freedom Day. Freedom Day was first observed in the city of Minneapolis on Plymouth Avenue. Mrs. Mabel Brewer sold a flag, which I have over on my seat, and Victor L. Probst was the civil rights director, and Council Member Louis DeMar had said that June 19th and forever would be Freedom Day. So it was Freedom Day before it was Juneteenth. Freedom Day. And this is a day of freedom. And then, as a young man, younger than he is now, he became involved with Pastor Stanley King, who was at Sabathani Baptist Church, and Joe Buckhalter, whose first African-American dealership. And they went and talked to Mr. Sullivan about having an OIC in the city of Minneapolis so that our African-Americans could have job skills, so that they could enter the job market. And Mr. Sullivan granted them Twin Cities Opportunities Industrial Center, which you now know as Summit Academy. Then there was Pilot City, what you now know as North Point, through the Tactics Board. And then there was the Northside Summer Fun Festival, where you got to meet all of the local artists and some of the upcoming ones. Y'all know who Uncle Charlie is? Yeah, man. Right at the Wave in Bethune Park, as well as the lustrous Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, as well as our upcoming artists. Then we had our Miss Black Minnesota pageant. You may hear something contrary, but I got the document right here. We had the franchise for the Miss Black Minnesota pageant, okay? And then we had our Black History production. And so I know that my time is up and I could go on and on, but I want you to know, ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. In my excitement, I forgot to introduce our Paramount Chief, Busmusi Zulu.
I know that the lady was a little vertically challenged, so I want to lift this up a little bit. Sawabona, people. Now, when I say Sawabona, I want you to say, Yebo, Sawabona. Now listen, one more time. When I say Sawabona, you say, Yebo, Sawabona. Good. Because see, Sawabona is a Zulu word. And it means, I see you. It means, we see you. Our ancestors see you. It means that we see the Creator who is in you. Now, I know you've heard that expression, I see you, because you saw those movies where the Europeans took that thing and they said, I see you all the time in Avatar. And the Tree of Life, that they took that from South Africa. They didn't tell you that, but I'm going to tell you that now. Because you see, it is my honor to be up here and to say a few words about that youngster called Harry Spike Moss. Now the fact of the matter is that I'm glad that some of the folks have recognized that Spike has been telling the truth all along. Listen! I'm glad that he had the courage to stand up and tell the truth to those to whom the truth needed to be told. And he never hesitated in doing that. The fact of the matter is that Spike didn't just stand up and tell the truth to the local folks, the mayor, the city council. He told the truth to the governor. He told the truth wherever he went throughout the country, whether it was in California or whether it was in Missouri. He told the truth. And the fact is that the truth was something that he, as a young man, began to learn. And he listened He listened to the greatest teacher in our time, Brother Mahmoud El But he did more than just listen. He learned. And then he took what he learned and he put it into practice. You see, as a young man, that brother had other young folks following him. He was a leader at an early age, even sometimes in the boxing ring. Now, I'm not going to tell you this story about how he learned how to box one time. And the man was trying to tell him, keep your left up. But by the time he could get the words out, the bell rang and Spike was back in the fight again. And the dude was putting a little bit of a lightweight tapping on Spike. Wop, 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 wop. Until he got back to the corner again. And he found out he sometimes had to find his own message and follow his own way. And he has been doing it ever since. Thank you.
I hope you can see from those of you outside the tent that from in, because I have to demonstrate something. The person I'm going to introduce next is Wilburbank's Q-Bear. And if there is a person who needs no introduction, it's Q-Bear. And back in the day, I played a little basketball. Back in the day, this brother plays some basketball. And every time we see each other, I would walk up to him, take my wallet out. Q-Bear learned from you, Mr. Moss, about telling the truth. And he had a platform. And he not only entertained us with his great humor and his wonderful sense of community, but the direction was purely Spike Moss. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Walter Banks, the Q-Bear.
I like to say good early afternoon to y'all, good morning, whichever way, because some of us got here real early this morning. The thing is I'm going to speak a little bit, and I'm going to be short and brief, but at the same time, I'm telling y'all, and this is just me from the heart, I'm seeing all of y'all here, and I ain't seen some of y'all in quite some time. And being born here in the state of Minnesota, and knowing all of y'all that's here, and all the different ups and downs and lives and transitions we have been through, and still here and still doing, and still showing love towards each other. It's not just north side of Minneapolis, it's south side, St. Paul, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center. I mean, the list goes on. And now let me lean a little over to my man, Brother Spike. Because this is a brother that I've looked up to, always looked up to, even today.
That's right.
I'm 65 years of age, and I still look up and respect this brother for the things that he's done for this community. Now, it started back a long time ago with KMOJ Radio, and talking about 1976. And Jeanette Cotton, she was like the birth of the radio station itself. And besides Jeanette Cotton, there was 3 other young ladies, Ora Holtz, Liz Samuels, and Bernadette Anderson. And those 3 took care of all of us in this community when we were little and shorties and growing up.
That's right.
And I'm telling y'all, when it comes to the musical side, and this, man, y'all don't know what y'all done for me when it comes to the radio station. And Mahmoud, the history and the lessons and the classes, even Brother Boosie Zulu, those classes mean things because what you do is you gain that knowledge, and that's something that nobody can take from you. Nobody can take it. Grab as much of it as you can from whomever you're around. And I know Spike, because I can talk, that's that radio side. But Spike, I want to thank you for just loving on this community. I know from Kansas City swinging it up this way and some of those ups and downs. But you've been the same, that consistency that's elevated, that shows a lot of us the example of how we should be and should do. Because it's really about community. Now, when it comes to KMOJ Radio, and when I said Jeanette Cotton, well, if you look at it and you look at the history of it, Jeanette Cotton was that one that was the start of it. But she was going to try to get the radio station and get it to be. But if it wasn't for Spike Moss and doing some things that he do, just like with Terry and Dre and Prince and all of them with some stuff they've done for the radio station, a lot of stories go untold. But when you know the truth and you can walk around and stand in front of it, pound for pound, I will balance light on the artists from here to Twin Cities, not just with the Minneapolis sound, but the music of artists that are here today. And if it wasn't for Spike and giving some of them that opportunity and having a way in doing so, that wouldn't be. If it wasn't for Spike and KMOJ Radio and going and speaking up and letting them know, and I said them know, how important life is for us. Because there's a thing about history and his story. And in the midst of both of those, there's a left side and a right side. They got to meet somewhere down the middle. And Spike, I want to thank you for just helping all of us come to that meeting ground. Because this is history within itself of every walk of life in the state of Minnesota is up under this tent and around the surrounding area. I love y'all. This is Glenn Golden from the 89.9 KMOJ. This is Big Show Baker, 89.9 KMOJ. There's a lot of people are here that used to be on the board, from management to staff to volunteers. I love every last one of y'all. And one of the things before I cut out of here is because, okay, Bobby said I got to go, I got to listen to him. But one of the things that I always say, and this is just me from growing up here and being on the north side, there's a thing called NFL that a lot of people don't understand. We're not talking about the National Football League. We're talking about North Side for life. Spike, I love you. Terry, Greg, so all y'all. I gotta go because, matter of fact, let me do this. Y'all listen to KMOJ Radio today. That's all I got to say.
Didn't the brother just say, when he got up here, I'm going to be brief?
You don't know how
Don't ever let a man who works on radio get in front of a microphone for any reason whatsoever. Because what he did was brief. To him.
to him.
Now, the next introduction that I want to do is the easiest of its kind because in the name, in the appellation of the name, the honorific, the rank, is everything you need to know. When I tell you that I'm introducing a firefighter, that's all I need to hear after having covered for 60 years people who give their lives to save others. Chief Brian Tyner is, by definition of his title, a hero. He takes the stage already as a hero. And he'll be joined by other African-American members of the Minneapolis Fire Department. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Brian Tyner.
All right, well, you used up my 3 minutes, so we out here late. But I want to thank you all for being here. truly an honor to recognize Elder Moss today. You know, I grew up here. I grew up just actually a couple of blocks away from here in the late 60s, early 70s. And, you know, one thing I remember growing up is that, you know, New York had Spider-Man and Gotham City had Batman and Metropolis had Superman. But the North Side, we had Spider-Man. Growing up, I recall him looking like Mr. Universe in that, you know, yellow T-shirt with way in the black letters, and you know the way, which was, if you don't know, located right here behind me where the 4th precinct now sits. It was a safe place for us to go. It was a safe place for us to be. It was a place where whether your interests were in sports, were in music, anything you just needed to do your homework, or a safe place to go, you could go to the way. But while I was doing that and having a good time marching down the street to the Wheatley Festival or racing trying to win a bike. Y'all remember that? What I didn't know is that he was actually making a way for me and for us and for our people. Now, I know it's been mentioned, I don't know if y'all noticed, but the Minneapolis Fire Department didn't always hire black firefighters.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And it was because of the efforts led by Elder Spike Moss, Ryan Edwards, I'm sorry, his name slipped my mind, and Matthew Little, that created the opportunity for us to be what you see standing behind me here. I stand behind you as not only a black firefighter, but a black fire chief.
Yeah!
And I'm not the first one, I'm the second one. And I'd also like to acknowledge that we have the Minneapolis African American Professional Firefighters Association here and President Charles Rucker. But I also recognize, by the way, I'm the only black chief in the 5-state region, y'all. The only black fire chief.
That's all right. That's all right.
And we also have the only black assistant chief who's with me now. So, Mr. Moss, I want to thank you. It is my honor to recognize you on this day, to recognize Spike Moss Way. And I want you to know that we stand on your shoulders. We will never forget it. One of our sayings is that we are what we owe. We are continually in the race. So we will try to push your work forward. Thank you. And now, I would like to introduce our first black police chief. Retired police chief, Madaria Aradama.
Very nice.
To my elders who are present here today, I respectfully ask your permission to address the crowd. Thank you. So at 16 years of age, one of our nation's greatest civil rights leaders for civil rights, women's rights, and voters' rights, Miss Fannie Lou Hamer, heard of this 16-year-old determined, passionate, focused young teenager here in the state of Minnesota who wanted to make change. And she said, I need you to come down south to help us with our voters' rights and our young people's rights at 16 years of age. Now, I've lived long enough to believe that there are 4 stages in change. And the first one is we have to dream of it. And all of us can play a role in that. The second stage of change is the most important, and it's the hardest. That's the struggle. The struggle is the hardest because we are going to lose people in that struggle. The task is going to be overwhelming and daunting. We're going to go 3 steps ahead and 2 steps back, and we are going to lose people because it's going to be too much. Elder Moss, Your place for our people was in that second stage of change, the struggle. And we are here and grateful for you, for all you sacrificed for that struggle. Now, the third stage of change is when it comes to fruition. And I stand before all of you. I served as the 53rd Chief of the Minneapolis Police Department, and that's because of the struggle that so many sacrificed, like Mr. Moss, for me. And if you want to know what the fourth stage of change is, it's simple. It's rinse and repeat. And that's what we will continue to do in your honor. Now, I also want to say that at 16 years of age, when some of us were just lucky to drive our car for the first time, you were doing real people's work. Later, 1968, right here in Minneapolis, there was an incident of police abuse which caused the governor at that time to have to bring up National Guard troops. You were a leader in wanting to hold the police accountable then, young Mr. Moss. Fast forward, this very sacred ground that we are standing on now became the way because of what you spearheaded. 2003, you spent 5 years with other leaders here today trying to bring police and community together to build trust with a groundbreaking memorandum of agreement. And I am so thankful and appreciative for you. And then yet still, you went to our prison systems, you talked to our young black men, you prepared them how to come back into our communities, into our zip codes, to be better productive community members and fathers to their children. We are so grateful for you. I am blessed. I have stood on your shoulders, Mr. Moss, and I love you, and today is your day. And we hold your legacy forever. Thank you.
Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Thank you, Chief. Let me bring up another person who was one of the products of the prodigious developments coming out of the way, out of and under Spike Moss's leadership. You all remember the Leo Johnson Drum Corps. Joy Gurley is here. Brother Joy.
Northside! Wow. Actually, I want to say something. I'm a Wade kid.
That's right.
All right, I started going out to the Wade when I was back in 19, I believe it's 76, something like that. Me and Bobby Joe, y'all remember NYC back in them days?
Yes.
We could work them NYC jobs and we could come up and work for the Wade. You know, and then we were them kids and stuff that when Spike to put in them outside festivals and stuff, we had to work them.
That's
know?
right. That's right.
Me and Bobby Joe and the barbers and the Shannon and all that and stuff. You know, but when we really became together, when we started the Leo Johnson Drum Corps.
Yeah.
And because of Spike, hear me, because of Spike, when we started out, we didn't even have drums. He let us come down the basement and we would start practicing in the basement and stuff, you know, just hitting your feet and just started rocking and stuff, you know. And Spike told us, you know, hey, in order to be the best, you need to see the best.
That's it.
So we thought we was all that. And then, you know, Spike started doing them Northside Fun Festivals and he brought down the Kansas City Cobras.
That's right.
Y'all remember them? And so we thought we was all that. And Spike said, you better watch him. You better watch him and learn. And the Kansas City Cobra came down and whooped our behind. And we said, okay, we learned. And then can I switch the story around? And so the following year, we went down to Kansas City. And we were ready, Spike. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
I'm going to tell you how Kansas City did us. We went down there. When we came out, they all walked out the court. Everybody walked out the gym and let us in. Yeah, that's all right. We represent Minneapolis. We started kicking. You mean we was kicking so hard everybody rushed back in to see what's going on. Man, them people got so mad they bombed and rocked our buses down in Kansas City. Why? Because we started learning. But from that, only got 50 seconds left. Because of Spike and then what he installed in us, the Leo Johnson Drum Corps, hear me, up to date, is the only professional drum corps that has been invited to the Mardi Gras.
Twice. We went twice. No other group has went since then. And it's all because of you, Spike. And we thank you, man, because we had a dream. And you taught us to love us, love people, and love each other. You know, and be proud of who you are, man. We thank God for that, and we thank God for you, man. God bless you. Continue to bless you, man. Thank you, man.
We're going to have a little musical interlude now, but not just any musical interlude, because the song that Monique Blakey and the band will perform for you in just a few minutes is a song that identifies the question that Spike Moss has been asking his whole life. I'd like to introduce Monique Blakey and the band to sing "What About the Children?"
Tears streaming down, her heart is broken, and because life is hurting, so am I. He wears a frown, his dreams are broken.
one of the many, many people that needs no introduction is the illustrious Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison. Keith is a legendary legislator. He's the chief law enforcement officer of the state, but on the national scene, international scene, a legacy leader in our community. And for him, political engagement is a family business. His family leads in many arenas, and we thank them all. Please welcome Attorney General Keith Ellison.
You know, friends, when I stood up in front of a microphone a lot like this one in April 21st, 2021, and we were announcing the verdict where we convicted the man who murdered George Floyd, my mind was in many places, but it really was on one person who made such a big difference in my life, and that was Spike Moss. Now you may ask, Keith, you know, you're the Attorney General, you're just finished this case, you convicted this person who murdered George Floyd and caused so much harm. Why are you thinking about Spike Moss? Well, the reason that I was thinking about Spike Moss is because the first person who ever taught me that you could organize, work, and actually not just fight for justice, but actually win some accountability was Spike Moss. Before George Floyd, there was Tysel Nelson who was killed right up on that street right over there. Before George Floyd, Spike organized all of us to go to South Minneapolis and get with Vernon and Clyde Bellecourt because they had put Native American people in the trunk of a car. Before that it was Chelsea Rod Scott. Before that, it was Lillian Weiss and Lloyd Smalley. All of these cases, Spike Moss said, come on, y'all. We're not going to sit around. We're not going to be quiet. We're going to raise our voices. We're going to demand justice. We're not going to back down. And the issue is not whether we win or lose. We're going to fight. We're going to stand up. And one of these days, we are going to get one. And so I'm telling you that Spike Moss was the leader, the valiant, brave brother that inspired me and a whole generation. Your Minnesota president of the Minnesota Senate is Bobby Joe Champion, a disciple of Spike Moss. Your Minnesota Attorney General grew up listening to Spike Moss. And I met Spike Moss when I was 22 years old. I was a law student, fresh in town. I'm 60 years old right now. And I'm telling you, every single thing that I've ever worked on, I have to take my hat off to that young fellow right over there, Spike Moss. And I want to say this before I give up the microphone. Spike Moss did not only spend his time criticizing police practices that were unfair and I would argue unconstitutional. He also criticized our community when there was community violence. Spike Moss would also say, wait a minute, it's unacceptable for us to shoot each other down in these streets. Spike Moss would also say, you raise that gun to your brother and sister and create havoc in our community. It's unacceptable, it's wrong, and it's got to come to a stop. So Spike has always been ready to call everybody to account. The government, our own community, everybody. He's calling us all to be better all the time. And that means you have integrity, Spike Moss. That means you're honest, decent, and sincere, and you don't care about who or what. You care about what's right and what's wrong, and you've always stood up for it. So let me just tell you all, this is a special occasion. This is a moment when all of us can say, yeah, Spike inspired us, but we were wise enough to be inspired by Spike. Yeah, Spike taught us, but we were smart enough to sit down and be taught. Yeah, Spike told us what the right thing to do, and we were wise enough to usually try to do it. So Spike, thank you for everything you've done. This whole community owes you a debt of gratitude. This nation owes you a debt. This world owes you a debt. And I am telling you people, I kid you not, I was in London, England talking about the George Floyd case, and somebody asked me, how is Spike Moss doing? That's a true story. And so Spike, the Ellison family, we listen to Spike Moss, and we thank you generations on top of generations. Now let me just tell you this. You cannot listen to Spike very long before he'll tell you, just like Mahmoud El-Qadi said, just like Mahmoud taught, just like Mahmoud showed us, Spike is not on no ego trip. Spike Moss is one who gives honor and dignity and tribute to people who taught him. And one of the people who did that was the young man who's going to come before you right now. And he might be 90 years old, but let me tell you, his spirit is like a young man because he's burning with fire for justice even now. Give it up for Professor Mahmoud El-Qadi, everyone.
All right, no, I'm not going to say much. Much has already been said. We don't want to overdo this thing. So if you really want to know more about Spike Moss, pick up Insight, the latest issue. Al McFarlane's newspaper. He's our Brian Bumble, Robin, who else is there? All mixed up. The great journalists. If you want to know about Spike, read the latest issue. I could not begin to tell you enough, so I'm going to be very, very brief if I can. I want to introduce you to two young men. Spike knows both of them. This is my grandson, Ari. Spike came to one of his recitals. I want my grandson to know you as I've known you. That's why he's up here. His name is Ari. He's a musician. Like this other, I don't know this guy. His dad. Some dude I saw. Yeah. Some dude. And I want to tell you a little Spike story with Stokely. When he was about 8 years old. And I brought him his first set of drums. Spike came by, because it was already been mentioned, Spike was a drummer. He was a drumming bugle corps as a youngster. And he came by to give Stokely some tips how to play drums. And I'll never forget it. This is the lesson. He said, look, on drums, if you can say it, you can play it. And he never forgot that. Thank you. Okay. Give me orders what to do. I may be old, but I'm not that old. Not that old. Yeah. No, I'm not going to talk about Spike as much. But I want you to bear with me and participate with me in honoring Spike, who is a part of a long, long line of black traditional prophets. He is a love warrior. We've been blessed as a people with love warriors. From Frederick Douglass to Martin, Malcolm, and Medgar, and Fannie Lou Hamer. And I'll never forget this. Thank you, and your wife, Norma Worship. Bless you. Bless this lady. For giving me one of the most sacred moments of my life. He took me to Mississippi, to the gravesite of Fannie Lou Hamer. I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing without the influence from Fannie Lou Hamer. So thank you. I can't thank you guys enough for that. That was a sacred moment in my life. And it helped me a lot to meet all of Fannie Lou's love warriors. Inspired me to do more, write more, and so forth. Then I'm going to ask you to do something with me, because I'm not going to talk. This is participatory. But it's in the name of Spike. What these love warriors taught him down through the years taught me to do what he does. And that is stand up, speak loud, tell the truth, shame the devil, get free. Listen, you are an heir to that. That was handed down to you by our loving, brave, courageous forefathers. You stand on their shoulders and you understand that. There's few people I've been around, a lot of activists, understand that. You are a love warrior. When I met Spike in 1966, a young man with fire in his belly and undying love for his people. There's no question about that. And to meet that in Minnesota, that's almost miraculous. But that's what he's been. A steady light. Well, young people, I don't want to start talking about his achievements because read this. But I do want you to do something for me in the name of Spike, which he has inherited from the great forefathers, from Douglas, from Malcolm, from Medgar, Dr. King, Rosa Parks, Fannie Lou Hamer, Mary McLeod Bethune. Those are love warriors. And he's gripped by them spiritually. He can't help from doing what he's doing. So in their name, on behalf of Spike, I want a little audience participation. Two of the love warriors, words from them to Spike. Here they are. I want you to recite after me. Here we are. And here we are likely to be. To imagine that we shall be eradicated is absurd and ridiculous. We can be changed, we can be modified, or even assimilated, but never extinguished. We therefore repeat that we are here. This is our country too. We shall neither die out, nor shall we be driven away, but we shall go with this people as an evidence in their favor or detriment to their lives. handed to you from Frederick Douglass. One more time. This is from Martin Luther King. You ready? We will win the goal of freedom in Birmingham and all over America. Because the goal of America is freedom. Scorned and abused though we are, our destiny is tied to America. Before the Pilgrims landed, we were here. Before Thomas Jefferson etched the majestic words of the Declaration of Independence across the face of history, we were here. Here he brought out three great gifts. The gift of story, of song, of soft stirring melody in an ill-harmonized and unmelodious land. That's a gift to you, Spurs, from the fathers. You doing what you're doing because you got to do it. You had to do it. And Harriet Tubman told you to do it. So Jonah Truth told you to do it. Mary McLeod Bethune told you to do it. And Fannie Lou Hamer told you to do it. That's why you're doing it. That's the solid voice, consciousness, feeding you to do the right thing. I'm just about to. And the last thing I want to say, back to Douglas again, and this is it. This should be written in the sky. If there is no struggle, if there is no struggle, help me. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Men who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are men who want crops without plowing the ground. They want the rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean's majestic waves without the awful roar of its mighty waters. The struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a what? It must be a what? Struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. You find out what a people will submit to, and you will have found out the exact amount of oppression and wrong that will be imposed upon them. And these will continue until they're restricted by words or blows or both. The limits of tyrants is prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. So then, black men and women will be hunted and flogged at the north, lynched at the south, so long as they submit to these devilish outrages and make no resistance, either moral or physical. Men and women may not get all that they pay for in this world, but they sure as hell must pay for all that they get. So then if we ever get free from all the oppressions and wrongs imposed upon us, we, you and I, must pay for their removal. We must do this by labor, by sacrifice, by suffering, if need be, by our lives, and if necessary, by the lives of others. Thank you.
I'm going to do something that is not in the script right now in honor of the master teacher, Mahmoud Al-Khadim. Would you just stand up where you are, if you can stand, and give him a round of applause and a standing ovation for his work over time in this community? God bless him. I have the extreme pleasure of making the next introduction. It sounds like everybody I'm introducing I seem to know somewhat, but I met this young man at the beginning of his career, and little did we know as we hung out, listening to music, watching them play music, watching them record, that eventually he and his partner, Jimmy Jam Harris, would become Grammy Award-winning producers of the year. You may have seen him at the Taste of Minnesota with Jam. I've known his mom, I've known his brother, I've known this man, and I love him with all my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the unbelievable Terry Lewis.
What's up? Minneapolis. Well, I want to tell y'all, I am part of the NFL. This was my home, a block away up the street. And I'm really proud to be here. And I'm really proud to be here for you, because you are one of the most awesome men I know in my life. You were a father figure for all of us who didn't have that father figure. You were a protector, a guider. But I also want to mention a few other people, because I want to take the opportunity, because they protected us and gave us a safe haven. I say quarter. They gave us quarter. Safety. And one of those people was Bertha Lee Fondren, who's Jelly Bean's mother. Jelly Bean Johnson's mother. We had Ray Island, who was like a father figure to me. And they protected us. Doris Island, his wife, beautiful. Bernadette Anderson. You gotta know her. You gotta remember these names. You gotta teach them to your children and your children's children. My mother, Miss B, Renetta Benton. They gave us quarter and put up with a whole bunch of noise for a lot of years to help us develop. And then out of this building behind us that used to be here, the Way, it produced so much talent because it gave us safety. It gave us a place to go and to shed and be with like-minded people. But a building is just a building unless it has a man like Spike Moss. And I just want to thank you, Spike, because I want to be brief. I don't want to get all long-winded about it. But I just want to thank you for being there for us and making us believe in ourselves, giving us opportunity to see ourselves against national talent, to see ourselves in a better light, in a bigger way. And that's the beautiful part of my life that I always like to give back because of that. I just want to make sure that the kids have the same opportunities that I have. I want to always come in and make the world a better place than it was before I arrived. So I owe that to you, brother. And God bless you, man. And Spike Moss Way, I'm going to drive that with pride. And I might even burn some rubber, but I don't drive fast. So thank you, man. God bless you.
Well, you know, this community has so much talent right here in North Minneapolis to the world, north side to planet Earth. North Side to human beings, to humanity. Spike Moss at the center of that, nurturing this talent, growing it, believing in it, and demanding that we understand that the world understands it as well. One of the voices, another neighborhood kid, Andre Simone. Welcome, Andre.
Thank you. It's great to be home. I got to tell you, I love Minneapolis. And first of all, I got to say, just the mere mention of the name Spike Moss brings a smile to my soul. Just the name Spike Moss just makes me, I smile because I know this brother. I mean, I could tell you story after story after story about a lot of different stuff, but I think the one thing that I think is important for everybody to understand is this community, this right here, everybody that's here, and back in the day, especially back in the day, owes a debt of gratitude to Spike, to my mother, Bernadette Anderson. So many names. I mean, I could go on and on. I think about myself as a musician, and I've traveled the world. I've been to Russia, I've been to China, I've been everywhere, and I gotta say, thank this community, and Spike being, the orchestrator of a lot of different things. I mean, everybody's told everybody he's done so many things on so many different levels, and he made it possible for a lot of us. I mean, let me put it like this: the first opportunity our band had to perform, and I don't know if you know who our band was. Our band was Grand Central. Me, Prince, William Dowdy, my sister Linda, Terry Jackson, Charles Smith. I mean, he gave us our opportunity to do our first shows. I mean, that's a big deal for me. And the one thing I got to tell you is I don't know, I could be wrong, but I might be the only one musician artist that came out of Minneapolis that actually thanked Spike on my album. My first album, I thanked him on my album. I had to. I owed it to this brother. Because, and again, not only, music is one thing, and music is great, and, I've learned a lot of things. I mean, family is a big deal. A lot of people wonder, where's Andre? I'm a dad. I got 6 kids and 4 grandkids. So, I'm a dad, and I just, I take it serious. But also, I love my community. I love my mom, I love my family, I love my nieces and my nephews, and I love this community. And I really want us to come together. And I think Spike has inspired a lot of people. But we can't let that stop. We got to keep inspiring young brothers to do what Spike did, to do what Bernadette Anderson did, and keep this community growing. Okay? We got to keep it going. Because if we don't, we know what's going to happen. It ain't like, we can't just rest on our laurels and live off the vapors of the past. We got to keep it going. Because if we don't, you know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I don't hear y'all loud enough. That's the problem. Because we need to know that you got to vote. You got to know what you're voting for. You got to empower yourself. You want things to change. You want your community to be stronger. You got to get involved. You got to get involved. So let me just stop. I've said enough. I'm going to say it one more time. I want to say congratulations, Spike, because you well deserved. Well deserved. And like Terry said, I'm going to ride, what am I? Motorcycle, helicopter. I'm going to ride something down Spike Way. I can tell you that. If it's a tricycle, I'm riding down Spike Way. All right. I love y'all. Thank you. Thank you, Spike.
So I mentioned earlier, talking about Keith Ellison, that politics was a family business. I'm pleased to announce one of the other members of that family enterprise, Jeremiah Ellison. Jeremiah, coming up. And I want to acknowledge Kim Ellison on the side as well. Kim, how you doing? Jeremiah, come on.
Northside, how we doing? All right, can we give a round of applause for all the speakers so far today? I know we're getting a little tired out here. I want to thank my colleagues for being up here on the stage with me. Spike, your work goes far beyond North Minneapolis, but we know that you call North Minneapolis home. And when Bobby Joe came up to me and he said, hey, we got to do this commemorative sign for Spike. What do you think? Will you author the application? And my first response was, well, we got a policy and I don't know. And he was like, Jeremiah, we got to get this done, right? So of course we're gonna stand here. We're gonna honor the work of Spike Moss because you put in so much work. And I'm the council member of the 5th Ward, so welcome to the 5th Ward. But I want you guys to know that's not how I know Spike. I know Spike from being a little kid, right? I've known you my whole life, and the work that you've done in this community is not only not lost on me, but I've internalized it. My dad used to have a program called Black Power Perspectives at KMOJ. And Spike used to be on there so much, I thought he was one of the co-hosts of the show. And Spike was up there talking about what it meant to be a leader, to be somebody who served your community, what it could look like to advance policies for black people. And that's something that I try to serve as I play in my role. And the one thing that I'm really glad about in this event here today is that we get to celebrate you as a person, as you live and breathe, right? Because so often we see folks who have done great in our community, they become institutions, right? And the more you're an institution, and you are an institution, Spike, the more you're an institution, we get further and further away from your humanity, right? You become a name on a building somewhere, right? We've got to know the work that you've done so that we can ask ourselves, are we living up to that model, right? We got to ask ourselves, what's our mission? What's our purpose? What's our pedagogy? And those are the things that you taught me, Spike. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. As a member of the City Council, I've got my colleagues up here with me. All of you here today to celebrate Spike. You honor yourselves in honoring him. So thank you.
Thanks to our City Council members. Next, you've heard about his leadership with the multicultural community. Spike has been a player, a partner, a supporter of the American Indian movement. Please welcome Fred Perro and Lisa Bellinger, American Indian Movement.
Bonjour. One of the national directors of the American Indian Movement, along with my sister, Lisa Bellinger, who's also the executive director. I just want to say two things. I've never met, I only met two people in my life that I really looked up to. Mr. Spike Moss and Clyde Belcourt. Somebody earlier mentioned that they met Spike the first time. 1976. I was getting out of Stillwater. I'm in the holding cage. Spike Moss walks in. I knew who he was. So I introduced myself. We talked for a few minutes. He was going into Stillwater to speak to the brothers and the sisters. Spike, you've always been there when we called. Every time I called him, he'd always answer his phone. Unlike when I called Lisa, I get voicemail. No one is more deserving than you, Spike. With that, Lisa.
Hello, bonjour. Bonjour, everybody. I am so honored to be here with my comrade here, Frank Perro from the American Indian Movement, to pay our respects and to join in the honoring and celebrating this great occasion for our Uncle Spike Moss. So I know in our community and our traditions, leadership is a very important element of our communities. And I heard earlier talks about what has changed, and I talked about how the energy and the work flows through the families and through the generations. And in our way, we have to think 7 generations ahead. We have to think about our whole community. And I know that whenever, like Frank said, whenever there was an issue, Spike was there. Uncle Clyde would call him up, or he would show up. He would just show up. He would hear about it and be there in a minute. And it takes that unity amongst our communities, right? To be the change, to make the change. And so with that, I just want to say a big heartfelt, from our hearts, from our nations. Thank you for stepping up with us, for standing side by side with us, and to help lead and to mentor and show us. Thank you.
One more thing. Spike Belcourt and Spike Moss showed me the way. Now I know where the way is. You're quick, Spike! Now I've got a treat for you, and I want you to participate in this. And it will be easy stuff for you, because we have another performance. Roland Lamont Keaton with the band, Monique, of course, Blakey, Jackson, her name's the Woods. They're going to be singing the anthem of the North Side. Ain't no stopping us now. You know what I'm saying? So, I want everybody to sing along with this. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the band at Ain't No Stopping Us Now. All right.
I think y'all feel that. I think we feel it. Ain't no stopping us now. We on the move, North Minneapolis. Let me bring up one of the great voices, the healers in our community, Shane Price. Brother Shane, come on over.
Hey, y'all, I won't stay long. We've been disobeying the 3-minute rule. I'm going to try to be obedient. But are there any pop guys in the house? Pop guys, let me hear you on 3. 1, 2, 3. Pop guys, along with my old friend Marvin Tyrone Smith, we grew up. We were the first youth, the first set of youth at the Way. Opportunity Unlimited Incorporated. Go ahead. Say something.
Thank you, Spike.
Let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you something funny about Spike since everybody getting so serious. So Spike, like many of us in the 50s and 60s, we wore our hair processed. You know it's true. And one time, Spike went to a conference where he was making his change, and Stokely Carmichael, later Kwame Ture, called Spike out and said, "Brother, you ain't free. Get that stuff out of your hair." Look here, Spike cut all his hair off the next day. And wait a minute, you gotta listen at this. Once he cut his hair off and went natural, then we did the same thing. Before we knew it, the girls was doing it. That's how we got to the natural with Spike. I'm gonna tell you one more funny thing. Spike remember me from the Way, but I remember him from Henry's Hamburgers on the corner of Fremont and Plymouth. And Henry's Hamburgers, they had the golden arches before McDonald's did. Spike know it's true. And I'm just gonna tell you this and be gone. Marvin and I got nothing but love for Spike. He mentored us. He spent his days with us. He invested his time. Say time. Time is the real money. Listen to what I just said to you. Say time. Time is the real. When you're out of time, you're out of. But as long as you have more time, you have more. Time is the real. Yes. And Spike spent his time with Marvin and I and others of us whose names I won't mention this second. And we're grateful for your time, Spike. Marvin and I got nothing but love for you. And on top of this, we're going to do another function at the Capri, celebrating Spike even further. Give that man a big round of applause. We love it.
Lastly, Shane was his favorite. I think I was number 2.
Hey, but we came out all right.
You know, we have a community of giants, and we have to recognize that in each other. Somehow, we have to get in the practice of seeing the presence of God, the power of God in each of us, right? And so when you address your neighbor, your friend, a person you don't know, you're not talking to just an ordinary person. You're talking to a representation of the Creator. Let's get that frame of mind. 2 people that reflect that in their daily work and in their interaction with family and community, Tyrone Terrell and Reverend Jerry McAfee.
I've gone through the fire. I have been through the flood, broken into pieces, seen lightning flashing from above. But through it all, I remember that He loves you and He cares. He will never put more on you than I can bear.
That's the thing around me.
Bobby Joe already told me I ain't got but 3 minutes. So I think it's already been said, I really do. But I stand here today, and it was really 40 years ago that I walked into the way. I had a meeting scheduled with Spike Moss, and he stood me up. I came back the next day, he stood me up. I came back the third day and he said, "College boy, what do you want?" Well, that meeting has turned into 40 years. And as I stand here today, I know Mother Liz is looking down right now. I know Sister Bernie is looking down right now. And many times, a lot of stuff that we were doing was led by Bernie and Liz. We might have been on TV, we might have been in the newspaper, but Bernie and Liz we were always called their boys. And so to my brother, who is my big brother, I love you, man. And not just for everything you've done for this community, because you've given way too much. Based on what his return has been, he's given way too much. But before I stop, Sharon, stand up. Sharon, stand up. Now, y'all stand up for Sharon. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. No man can do this work without a good woman, a great woman at his side. So, Sharon, thank you for taking care of my big brother. Derek Holmes, please come forward, along with Spike Moss.
Good afternoon, everyone. While I'm waiting for the great Spike Moss, I met Spike 30 years ago. A young lady, Tequila Scarlett, I'm from Waterloo, Iowa. She said, "You got to meet this brother." I have my advertising company, and I met him, and we've been friends and brothers ever since. He's been incredible in my life, and you've heard so many stories. I got a gang I could tell, but I'm now the CEO of Benjamin Banneker Watches and Clocks, named after Banneker. He was the conduit to Alfred Babington Johnson. These guys helped me get my company off the ground 20 years ago with this and everything else. So the love that I have and appreciation is unbelievable, and all of us wanted to make sure we memorialize this. The brother was just talking about time and how important it is. Come on up. I call him Spiker Zulu. And this clock has a collage of some of his body of work. We would need a grandfather clock as big as the buildings in Divide, but we did the best we could do. And this clock is dedicated to Mr. Spike Moss. You have been so many things to so many people. You have influenced young lives, and you have been an amazing ambassador for your communities. In celebration of the naming of your street, every time this clock ticks will be a reminder of all the time that you've dedicated to so many. From Mrs. Sharon Thompson Moss, Senator Bobby Joe Champion, Mr. and Mrs. Alfred Babington Johnson, and myself, Derek M. Holmes, we love you.
I have been totally overwhelmed. Totally. Unbelievable. I can't believe I did all that work. Somebody should have paid me for it. Let me first say that there's so many of you in the audience who have worked with me, who have allowed me to mentor you. I don't have time to go through each of your stories, but I need to publicly say thank you for everybody that stood up with me, everybody that marched with me, everybody that's fought side by side with me, Brother Stroud. Listen, if without y'all standing up, we can't move forward. Now that I said that, I want to say something because it didn't just happen. Where is Richard at? Raise his hand somewhere. I know he's supposed to be here. I'm talking about Richard Harris. Now y'all listen real careful. I need you to quiet down so you can hear this. I want to talk about the important parts of my development. Where in the heck is John Jacobs? Anybody seen Jake? Over where? Where is Jake? Let me say something to you about my development. It didn't just happen. My mother used to take me home to Missouri every single year. Down there I had a cousin. No matter what I did, he told me what was right and what was wrong. He never let me make any mistakes. He taught me consistently as a young boy what to do and not do. And I never had a chance, as I learned the value of that, I was getting older, what that meant, those lessons, to never do nothing without thinking it out and coming up with the right understanding and the right direction to get it done. My cousin Richard is here from Devonport. Raise your hand back there, Richard. As the first person that directed me as a little boy. Secondly, I was looking for Jake, because John Jacob I met at the Phyllis Wheatley when I was playing football and boxing. But he's the one that put that courage in me, determination in me, fearless in me. We can't lose, we're going to win, we champions. That went a long way in my life. At 15, you got to leave the Junior Golden Gloves in boxing and you go to open division. At that point, Ray Wells entered into my life. He promised my mother that he would take care of me, train me well and protect me. He began to teach me, not just train me. He said there'll be no smoking, no drinking, no drugs. I have lived that life that Ray Wells gave me. When I started marching, he would always take the right side of my shoulder to protect me, and he would physically protect me. And he did that my whole life. He would leave his job to check on me. And then I met Ray Island, General Mills, who came to me, got on my board of directors, and him and his wife taught me every step of the way. And then one day he said, Spike, where you're going, you're going to need a lot of information. I went to school with Dick Gregory. He's a friend of mine. He's going to be your mentor. And once Dick Gregory became my mentor, it was wide open. The sky was the limit, and he was the same as Ray Wells. He's going to march with me, take my back, and physically stop you from harming me. And then I was listening on the stage of the women. The great Mother Liz Samuel, Liz Moore, Bernadette Anderson, and Miss Hickman from St. Paul that taught me everything they could teach me where I would be successful. And with that, I went forward for you. I want to take a moment. I want all my children that made it, stand up. Stand up, just my children that made it, stand up. They live in Texas and Tampa and Missouri, and just a handful live here. Now let me have any of my grandbabies that stood up, or great-grandbabies stand up that made it in town. Need you to stand up. Always know this grandfather loved you dearly forever. To any of my relatives that hit the highway that's be here, stand up so they can see you. Stand up so they can see you. They came from over there in Milwaukee, down there in Devonport, all the way to Kansas City. I am proud of my family. Matter of fact, I'm looking back there at Wanda Starr. My God, Wanda Star, the Black Patrol, the Soul Patrol. Look at him. Look at him. Wow. What's up? So let me just say this. To all the musicians, just know, Andre, I was proud of all of y'all. Just know, Terry, you and Jimmy Jam, every time I saw you, you touched me. Stokely, mid condition, you touched me. But I knew your daddy taught you the way he taught me. To this community, everything I did for you was love. I love my people. I often say in my speeches, I love my people. I love you when you're up. I love you when you're down. I might not love all that you do, but you can damn sure bet I love my people. I can't thank all of you for giving me this day from 1966, when they first beat that 14-year-old black girl up in downtown Minneapolis in broad daylight, which changed my life forever. And I never looked back since. But the one thing God has done for me, he's allowed me, Rashad, to keep mentoring you. You next. To keep mentoring all of you to do what McAfee did, to do what Al Flowers is doing, to do what Tyrone is doing. As long as the people need soldiers to do, get up and do for your people. Get up and do. And I don't want to get political, but you better listen to what Andre said. You better watch this next election. They might roll us back 40 to 50 years of the progress we made. You better watch this election and be ready to what he said do. To this whole committee, I can't thank you enough. Where is Sharif? There he is. This man had the nerve to wake me up early in the morning and tell me, Spike, you get in the street? I said, yeah, I'm going to drive all over you. Love y'all.
All right, everybody. Before we conclude the program and do the street reveal, I just want to say a couple of things real quickly. We'll do this like church, like a church wedding. So the drum corps is out here. They will lead us over across the street. The streets have been blocked off, so you'll have free passage over to the Newton side where the street sign is made. We'll start with the front row. Stand up, go that way. Second row, stand up and go that way. The last thing and most important thing I want to say today, none of this would have been possible without your senator and mine, Bobby Joe Champion. He made this happen.
Hey, guy. Hey, bro. Can you pass me that?
First row, go.
Can you pass me that?
I'm moving.
Yeah. Excuse me. No, you good.
Back up a little
You guys get done this way. Good. Hey, don't knock my camera over, please. I'm right here. You got a human being right here. You are. Come on in here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Listen Media USA. Thank you for listening to what we have to say. Here's what's happening in your neck of the hood. Spike Moss, Way.